For skeptics, the world of spiritualism and mediumship is rife with trickery and delusion. But what happens when highly respected scientists and academics witness phenomena that defy all conventional explanation? That's precisely what occurred during the Scole Experiment, a 5-year investigation into physical mediumship that produced some of the most extraordinary and baffling paranormal claims ever documented. Today, we're diving into the factual history of the Scole Experiment, exploring the meticulous methodologies, the distinguished witnesses, and the astounding phenomena that led some of the most rigorous scientific minds to conclude that intelligent, discarnate entities were indeed communicating from beyond the grave. Only on this episode of The Daily Strange. Hello everyone and welcome to The Daily Strange, a special October 2025 video per day blitz of the paranormal, specifically videos relating to cryptids, monsters, and the supernatural. I am your intrepid host, John F. Murs, author, actor, adventurer. The Scole Experiment took place from 1993 to 1998 in the quiet village of Scole, Norfolk, England. It involved a small group of individuals, 2 mediums, Robin and Sandra Foy, and 2 investigators, Alan and Diana Bennett. What made this experiment unique was the level of scientific oversight it attracted. Over the course of 5 years, a total of 24 sittings were observed by members of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, including scientists, physicists, and psychologists. Among the key observers were Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, a renowned biologist, and Professor David Fontana, a distinguished psychologist and former president of the SPR. The experiment was conducted under strict, controlled conditions. The sittings took place in complete darkness, often in a cellar or specially prepared room to eliminate visual trickery. The mediums were searched, and the room was meticulously examined before and after each session. Objects were marked, and security measures, including infrared cameras and sealed containers, were employed. The aim was to rule out any possibility of fraud or misperception. Now, the incidents reported during the Scole Experiment were nothing short of astonishing and ranged from the audio to the physical. Lights and levitation. Witnesses reported seeing dozens of moving lights, including bright flashes, glowing orbs, and beams of light that seemed to respond to questions. Small objects were observed to levitate and move around the room in defiance of gravity. Then there were the audio incidents. Rapping sounds were heard, often answering questions or spelling out messages. Disembodied voices speaking in various accents and sometimes multiple voices at once engaged in conversations with the sitters. These voices were reportedly distinct from the medium's own voice. Then there were physical manifestations. Objects known as apports appeared spontaneously in the room, seemingly materializing out of thin air. These included antique coins, crystals, and even a newspaper from 1944. Perhaps most dramatically, physical manifestations were reported, such as a materialization of a human hand that touched a sitter, and photographic film placed in sealed containers being exposed with images of spirits and messages. And there were the communications via technology. One of the most groundbreaking claims involved communication through electronic means. Messages and images reportedly appeared on a sealed blank cassette tape, and a small battery-operated LED light that was out of reach would reportedly turn itself on and off again on command. The investigators, particularly the SPR team led by Professor Fontana, were initially highly skeptical. However, after years of repeated consistent phenomena under rigorous conditions, their conclusions were remarkable. In their 1999 report, they stated that physical phenomena occurred that were not due to any identifiable trickery or deception on the part of any of the participants. They concluded that some intelligence or intelligences were at work, clearly in touch with the participants' thoughts. Despite the academic rigor, the Scole experiment remains controversial. Critics point to the fact that much of the activity took place in darkness, making absolute certainty difficult, and that independent investigators were not present for every single session. However, the sheer volume of witnesses, many of them trained scientists, and the consistency of the reports tend to lend considerable weight to the claims. The Scole experiment stands as a pivotal, if still debated, chapter in paranormal research. It provides compelling evidence for the possibility of physical mediumship and communication with entities, challenging our materialist understanding of reality. For those involved, it was proof that the veil between worlds can indeed be thin, revealing an intelligence that continues to operate beyond the bounds of conventional science. And that's going to do it for this episode of The Daily Strange. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you tomorrow with yet another episode of The Daily Strange.